Welcome to the Jumpify Labs podcast, where we break down what's actually working to grow and scale businesses effectively. Today, I'm blessed with the presence of Dr. Clarence Lee. Dr. Lee, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Looking to add a ton of value for you folks.
Let's just hop right into it. Clarence, you've gone from military medicine to owning multiple locations in healthcare, now running your own national marketing agency for doctors. I know that's not just a career pivot. It's going to be a masterclass in scaling service businesses. So just a quick version. What are the businesses you own today and how do they work together?
So my trade is I'm a physician by trade. So I'm in the specialty of occupational medicine. So I deal with a lot of employers, workplace safety, things like that. And then I built a small personal brand along the way, and so I'm really into social media and creating branding for physicians. So I also have a marketing agency with my partner called Social Media for Doctors, where we help doctors build brands.
That's amazing. Yeah, you had this transition from being a Air Force doctor. What's one thing from your military career that helped you shape, I guess, your own processes and methodologies for growing a business?
So much. Um, I'd probably say the most impactful was structure, delegation, and pretty much division of power. So who owns what, who's accountable for what. I feel like that's probably the biggest thing that I've brought to organizations that I'm a part of now. It's just that structure and kind of delineating, hey, where there's overlap, who's accountable, and driving execution. So those are probably the biggest things.
Hmm. Yeah, and you were great in your craft as a doctor in the military, and then also you've started your own practice, grew that to multiple locations. But that pivot, going into your own business, coming from the military, I know because I was in the military myself, and it requires a whole new set of skills. Acquiring those skills takes a lot of hard work and effort. When did you first realize that?
Oh man. Early on, I would say. So I think physicians are uniquely trained in their education. They really don't learn anything about the healthcare business at all. By the time a physician practices, by the time they start practicing, everything's already set up for them. The entity's already set up. Public health and all the regulatory things are already in place. The doctors just kind of show up and practice medicine. So I think I first learned that when I launched my first practice, is realizing that you could have 5 out of 5 Google reviews, but if no one knew you, if you did not have marketing, if no one knew where you were, if you weren't in front of people, you would miss out on opportunities to serve. So that's kind of when I really learned that it's not good enough just to be a good doctor or a great doctor. You also have to be great at marketing.
Yeah, the marketing piece is an interesting part because we think just because we know how to buy that we automatically know how to sell. But that's not the case at all, right? Like just because you can eat food doesn't mean you can cook food. I guess what was one of the first major scaling challenges that you faced when you're in this process of building out your own practice? And then how did you resolve that?
Yeah. So as you scale, you're going to have more and more problems. So you're going to other problems are going to present themselves that weren't there initially. I think one of the first things I didn't really think a lot about was staffing and the staffing model. So what if somebody calls out, or what if somebody's out for that day, or how do you manage people, right? Because people are
Mhm.
going to have life situations, but I need this person in this role to develop to deliver in the business. But what if they have other things going on? So I think for me, just developing a pool where you necessarily have your full time people, but you got part time people, you have multiple people trained to do a certain thing, so that you have kind of contingencies. If somebody calls out. But when you're a small business, you're really trying to run things lean. So you you lean on your people a lot, but as you scale, maybe one person is doing 4 or 5 people's jobs. At that point, you really need to delineate and take on more payroll so that you have more leverage, and you're able to handle contingencies when things come up. So as probably the first big lesson on scaling is your staffing and investing in staff.
Yeah, and we talked about as well how you started really growing once you found good partners. that
Yes.
once you found partners, you it kind of leads into that division of labor a little bit. When do you decide when? I guess maybe you have a process internally already, but when do you decide when it's time to partner up or build solo?
At this point, I will never do a business by myself ever again.
Right.
I'm always going to have partners. And I think as you mature as an entrepreneur, everybody is going to understand that not one person can't be great at everything. And so everybody has their rock star talent, what they do really well, but in order to scale and go, I always hesitate when I say have to, but I try to give advice where
Yeah.
you need to understand that you are going to slow yourself down if you are the rate limiting factor and you are the expert and the master of everything. So, like at this point, I'm only going to do businesses with partners. All of my businesses have partners at this point. And it's really because I want to identify people that have complementary skills to me. And when two are going, you can go further together than by yourself. And this is something I learned the hard way. And before we leave this, I know you have a lot of entrepreneurs, people that you're speaking to. Now that weight is heavy when it's just you. If it's just you and
Yeah.
I got to deliver on everything, I got to sell on everything. I'm the only one that's like totally invested in this thing going well. That's a lot of weight. And like, you don't necessarily have to have that all on yourself. You take partners. I got somebody else invested. I got a teammate. I got somebody else that's right there in the thick of it. Money's in it too, that wants it to win. And so, yeah, I just wanted to, tap on that because, how you think and the pressures and the stress that comes with entrepreneurship is huge. And out the gate, if you understand, if you have partners, you're able to kind of lessen that. It's still there, but now I
Yeah.
got somebody else that understands completely what I'm going through and is going through it with me. That's massively important.
Yeah, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs when they first start or when they're starting to yeah, when they want to start their own thing, when they want to branch off from the work in the job, they try to do everything on their own thinking it is going to be easy, that clients are just going to come to them because they're experts at XYZ craft. I guess
Yes.
also for you, when did you we talked about this a little bit before when you're a doctor, you're focused on one lane and everyone's kind of assisting you to do your doctor thing. But when you start your
Yes.
own little practice, you kind of have to do more as far as like everything else, right? I guess
Yeah.
also the a question that comes up to mind is what did you actually learn going from that world where people are like giving Mr. Mrs. Doctor here, just focus on the client. I'll do all the admin and XYZ, whatever, to having to do everything and even having to go get your own clients. Like, what did you learn from that transition?
Yeah, it was a huge mindset shift. Like I said, doctors, when they come out to practice, pretty much everything's already set up for them. If you're in an employment model, it's going to be set up for efficiency. So you're going to have people there to do a bunch of stuff for you. And so you just show up and it's just like this, oh my gosh, the doctor's here and everybody's scrambling, trying to help you. In entrepreneurship, it's kind of the exact opposite. Like
Yeah.
no one is really there to help you. You have to figure out the people that you can help. No one else's job is contingent on them helping you well. Like you have to go out and make sure that you're adding value at a high enough level to interrupt people's patterns. If you're an entrepreneur, you're starting a new business, people are already doing business with somebody else, most likely. Like there's nothing new under the sun. Like you're not the only doctor that's there, right? They probably already know a doctor or probably already know a urgent care. So it was a huge mindset shift to understand that you need to be able to meet the customer where they're at and let them know fully that you understand what they're going through and that you can solve problems for them.
Yeah, absolutely. The symptoms that you and I talked about before, where you have to know their problems better than they almost do. I want to take a
Yes.
pivot now towards what you're doing with social media for doctors and talk a little bit about that sales process and how you kind of overcame some of those initial, I guess, those initial like hurdles when you're first starting to sell to clients and get clients on board with you. I want to hear a little bit about how you talked about that with me and have the listeners hear that.
Yeah, yeah. So on the medical side, so building a medical practice side, I do occupational health, so I'm calling on employers, I'm dealing with workplace safety things. So you really need to understand, and one of the things we didn't talk about quick when we in our pre-call was you really need to understand your competitors. So if you understand your competitors, you can understand the problems that people are going through because you know what the competition is offering. So if I go into a sales call or a sales meeting, it's really important for me to be able to display that I understand some of the pain points that they're going through if they're dealing with XYZ competitors. And then you're able to kind of differentiate yourself with your value add there. So it's really, really important that they know that you understand them. And some of that comes from experience, right? Because I've been in a workplace, I've been in that. Other times it may come from conversations, asking questions, and people will give you that gold, if there's pain that they're dealing with. So whoever you're selling to. So in social media for doctors, we call on doctors, right? And so we know that avatar, if you will, well, like, because this is what we do. Like, we're physicians. We've been in this physician entrepreneur, solo practice. And so you're able to speak to what they're going through. And so as a result of that builds their confidence in you that you're able to solve those problems because you understand them.
Right. Yeah. It's a that's a big sales. It's a big sales simplifier, I guess. If you can explain somebody's symptoms and their problems, what they're going through to them, you can articulate it well to demonstrate that that you actually know them and what they're going through. It just naturally just builds trust. And when there's trust, I mean, that's the biggest objection handle of them all, basically, that they can actually trust you to do what you're promising to do. So love for you to have the floor a little bit and share a little bit what you actually do for doctors who I guess are correct me if I'm wrong, but if they're trying to build their own practice, correct? Like those are your
Yeah,
type
so
of clients?
yeah, it's really for all physicians, really. So you can go
Okay.
from the employed physician who maybe is feeling like they don't have a lot of control, they don't have a lot of say in how things are done, and they want to launch their practice. Okay, we have that. Or maybe it's a doctor that's in a practice that doesn't necessarily have a personal brand. They don't have anything that's transferable. So if they leave that practice, they can't go and pick up and patients won't follow them. So it's for that. It's for that physician too who wants to build a brand to become that kind of go-to in their specialty. And then all the way to doctors' offices or practices that are looking to grow. Maybe they have one location looking to go to two. Maybe they have two locations and looking to bring on a partner. So all these things we kind of address in social media for doctors, but the primary thing is helping to build a kind of a recognizable, transferable, searchable brand so that you're kind of the go-to expert in your space. And for doctors, it doesn't necessarily have to be a nationwide thing. Like, and we can brand you in your area right around your practice and have you be kind of like a local media doctor star. Like, it doesn't have to be like this global brand.
Hmm.
But essentially, that's what we'll do. We use the power of social media to help doctors grow brands and scale their practices.
Yeah, what do you say to somebody who's like, "Man, you know what? Social media is for the kids. It's something I could never do that." Like, I'm sure that's a bit of a hurdle that you have to kind of overcome with clients who are stuck in their old ways. Like, what do you say to someone like that?
It's the future. So everybody understands that. I mean, even with, you got Chat GPT now going. I mean, even with AI, people are going to Google, YouTube, AI to answer their healthcare questions before they're seeing a doctor. So part of that is everybody understands that. No one is going to wait for 2 weeks to get an appointment with the doctor to ask a question when they can just pull right up on Google and do and put it right in. They're doing that instantly. Okay. So one, I usually say that, all right, look, I know you understand this is the wave. Now, do you want to be the doctor when they Google these symptoms? Do you want to be the one that's popping up and sharing valuable, credible information with the patient? Or do you want somebody else, one of the quote unquote kids or one of the younger population on there sharing that information? So I encourage docs, you want to be the face. And so many times, if you look right now, a lot of doctors aren't branding themselves. So even the healthcare experts online, most of them aren't doctors. So
Hmm.
if you go online and you look for somebody talking about getting in shape or vitality or any of this stuff, they're usually not medical doctors. They're usually not physicians. That might be healthcare, fitness, might be fitness people or personal trainers, things like that. And they're adding a lot of value in that space. And so, my encouragement to doctors is you want to be the person adding that value. You have the highest credential in this space. How is it that you just leave this whole field area of social media and online to everyone else that's savvy in that?
Mhm.
You want to be there too, basically.
Yeah. Do you have any notable cases of some past clients that you've really spearheaded their transformation into maybe a business that's running kind of like, just them, they have a small practice, but then they're starting to really pick up steam because they've had a chance to work with you?
Yeah, the biggest case study that me and my partner use is Dr. Webb's, which is my partner, which is Antonio Webb. So he's a spine surgeon in San Antonio, Texas. His we met probably 10 years ago. It might be 15 now. Time is flying. And we met online. So me and him did not know each other. We met online through Twitter. We were both doctors that were making YouTube and these things, and that's how we connected originally. But in that time, since he started his YouTube channel has got over 1 million subscribers now. He's got a thriving practice in San Antonio, several locations. He's got a speaking business. He's got a foundation. What YouTube has been able to do for Dr. Webb is the main kind of case study, if you will, that we kind of present to clients as, hey, you just want a piece of this. I mean, maybe you don't need 1 million YouTube subscribers and tens of millions of views like Dr. Webb, but what if we got you to a quarter of that? What if we
Hmm.
got you even to a tenth of that? Right. So, do you think that would add value? Right. And so that's the biggest case study that we use is Dr. Webb and what he's been able to do. It's not just in the medical space, and that's another piece that we talk to physicians about. It's not just you seeing more patients because that's not going to scale, right? Because how many patients can you see in a day, right? You're going to be limited
Yeah.
by appointment time and things like that. So other ways to add value, things that can scale. So we help them to build product suites, if you will. So this is maybe online training, maybe a membership programs, maybe it's a speaking or an expert industry, if you will, where you're now able to go out and get paid for consulting and things like that. So we really help doctors to see once you have a brand and you're the go-to, it's going to open up lots of other doors for you to be able to scale. So you're not just, hey, I have to see 100 patients a day. Then you're able to look and say, all right, maybe I could do some speaking here. Maybe I could do some consulting here. Maybe I teach online here. Right. So these are all the ways that you're able to add value. So we help them to kind of multiply their income streams through that branding.
Wow. Yeah. Having that personal brand, that public persona, just where other people outside of your immediate circle can get to know you, where you're adding value through your content, it definitely opens up a lot more doors because it's opened up the doors for you as well. I know you're also speaking, right? You've also
Yes.
done that route. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that. Like because you have a lot of different things going on, Dr. Lee. I guess I'd like to hear a little bit about your speaking, how that continues to influence and kind of build your whole machine.
Yeah.
How's it helped you so far?
What one of the first things I teach when I'm talking to somebody about personal branding is you just kind of need to be who you are. And so, like for me, I am an encourager. So I wake up and I naturally try to figure out ways to encourage people. Maybe that's encouraging kids or my wife or my family or my patients or any. My default is to encourage. And so when I started on social media, Facebook was like, what's going on today or something had a low prompt. And I just remember always wanting to just encourage. Like that was the first thing that I wanted to write. Like, like, hey, if you're going through something or it's a tough time or look, this is what life's gonna throw at you. You can get through this. And so as I just began to, okay, find my voice in that and share encouraging words, I started to build a brand around that. Now I'm a doctor. Most of my content online is encouraging, dream building, helping people to get what they want out of life. They see me being a doctor as a success, right? So okay, this guy's gotten to something he's realized something in his life and maybe he could help me realize that, And so, yeah, for me, that's where it started, just sharing an encouraging story. And that led to my first paid speaking gig was from a Twitter follower, like someone that was following me. And they were like, hey, will you come and speak to my basketball team? And that's how it started. So then from there, it was speaking. And then I was at a speaking gig, and someone said, hey, have you ever written a book? And I was like, oh, I never thought about maybe I should write a book. So then, I wrote a book. And then, from there, it was like, oh, well, I can't be everywhere speaking all at the same time. I might be able to impact 1,000 people at one time. What if I, create something online where I could teach people and it could kind of scale and I don't have to be there individually? So then I started making online courses. So your gift will really make room. The world will make room. Your gift will make room for you, just using your gift. So as you go out and build a personal brand, just be who you are. Like you don't have to just be like, my gosh, this scientific study, unless that's what you're into. Like, okay, great, you're
Yeah,
a
yeah.
doctor, unless you just geek out on the data. If you geek out on the data, then that's what you need to do on your videos, right? But for me, I love to encourage people. So I like to talk about overcoming obstacles and letting folks know that, hey, even though something might be tough in the beginning, doesn't mean it's not for you. And that's what I wake up thinking about. And that's what I make content about. And that has led to other opportunities for me to add value, but staying in my lane. I'm an encourager. Yes, I'm a doctor and this is my profession. This is what I do, but my personal brand is more around encouraging and helping people realize their dreams.
Yeah, I think that's also really great about our first conversation, because something I picked up was just how you and I got along, and it didn't very much feel like I was talking with a doctor. I was just talking to someone else that was in the service, and we're just building business and talking about the hardships and the things we've overcome. So I really appreciate you saying that, because people need to know that about you, that you're gonna want to
Yes.
help them and you're gonna want to help them navigate this landscape of social media, which is like reading hieroglyphics to some people, and you're just going to help them kind of navigate those waters to where they want to get to. Brother, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you had quite a bit of, you are an extremely busy human being. So I guess I'll give you the floor to kind of give your closing message to anyone that's maybe looking for some encouragement. And then also, I'd love for you to just touch base on how people can find you, what you do, and I'll give you the floor there.
Yeah, thanks for that. So yeah, this has been a great conversation. I think, when someone asks me, hey, what are your thoughts about life? I think the biggest thing for me is to help people continue to bet on themselves and to live their dream. Um, Sometimes that's a career path. Sometimes people get down a career path and decide, hey, I want to do something else, or hey, maybe this isn't for me. I always encourage people, that the best bet that you can make is on yourself. Betting on yourself and going after that vision. So I always ask, what is your dream? What is that thing that you see in your mind that you want to do? What is that thing that's so far off that you think, hey, maybe it's not a possibility for me? But for me, that was becoming a doctor. Like I'm the first 4-year grad in my family, first medical doctor, first flight surgeon, all of these things that I have been able to accomplish, I didn't necessarily see in my surroundings. And so that's not a prerequisite for you to go after what you want. It's the only prerequisite is a vision that you see it in your mind. And if you see it, then that is what is for you. I believe that in my
That's
heart of hearts.
fire.
If you see it, that is what's for you.
Oh,
So,
that's so fire. That is so fire. You get me
it's
charged up, man. You get me charged up. All right.
it's the
Yeah.
truth. It's the truth.
Yeah. And then who are you working with now? How can people find you?
Yeah. So, socialmediaForDoctors.com. Right now we have a free community that we're building, and I'll share the link with you on that. So, just a free community of doctors. If you want to come and be around more content created doctors, who just want to learn more about building a brand online. SocialmediaForDoctors.com. You can join that free community, and then when you're ready to take the next step, you can join our course and learn a little bit about how to start doing that. We kind of give you a blueprint to build your own brand, and then from there, if you're ready to jump in and start building content, hey, join our group, and we could help you do that, help you make the content, help you shoot. We got the videographers, the editors, we've got everything for you. So we just help you kind of come in and make it nice and polished, and help you build your brand. But it really starts with that free community. So socialmediafordoctors.com. If you're interested, join our free community, and we can continue to add value from there.
Appreciate it, Dr. Lee. It's been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for the work that you do. Thank you for coming on the show. Anyone listening, if
Absolutely.
you want more, more of the same, just go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. We're on all the channels and make sure you find Dr. Lee and give him a shout. All right. Thanks so much. Talk soon.